levitating old lady just hanging outside my window in the middle of the night? Well, I guess I won't be sleeping. Hey guys, before we get into the review, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe if you like videos just like this. We do a lot on the channel, some side-by-side comparison videos, some Blu-ray trips where we give away digital copies, and some spoiler talks where we have guests on the show to talk about, you guessed it, spoilers to your favorite movie. So be sure to do that, and without any further ado, let's talk about The Dark and the Wicked.
Temptations. Is there trouble? And you're what a family had.
On a secluded farm in a nondisclosed rural town in Texas, a man is slowly dying. His family gathers to mourn, and soon a darkness grows, marked by waking nightmares and a growing sense that something evil is taking over the family. Let's talk about the pros first. The acting is phenomenal. Marin Ireland, who you might know from the Umbrella Academy as Sissy, and Michael Abbott Jr., who plays Michael, are the two siblings who are dealing with this entire ordeal together on this farm, and they're great. But the one who really steals the show for me is Xander Berkeley. You may know him as Gregory from The Walking Dead. Forget all that. I know he plays a weasel in that show. In this, he is truly haunting. He is like the Dr. Loomis of this movie. He comes in, he introduces a couple of plot threads that kind of let you know what's going on or kind of alludes to a couple of different things. And it's criminal that his role was as short as it was, because it was, to me, the highlight of the acting in this entire movie. Also, this movie is absolutely chilling to the bone. This is like the season 2 of Bly Manor or Hill House that we should have got. In fact, at a certain point, I thought this movie had too many nightmare-inducing scenes, one after another. There's no comic relief, there's no breaks, just keeps going one after another. It feels like an endurance test for your anxiety levels, which, for a horror movie, it works. But if it's not for you, then it's definitely not for you. I watched this movie in pieces because every now and then it just kept elevating to the point that it was exhausting, and it basically lives up to its title of The Dark and the Wicked. It just makes you feel gross, and it pulls you in, and it's great, but it's also draining, if that makes sense. I do love how they put the title card, Monday. It's very much like The Shining, letting you know that this is going to take place over the course of a week, and it's going to keep escalating every single day, and boy, does it. I also want to talk about the cinematography and the editing and the score. They're all top-notch. They're all immersive. They pull you in. At no point during this movie did I feel like I was like watching a B-level horror movie. I was sucked in. This movie grabbed me by the wrist and did not let go, which is awful when it's chilling, but fantastic for a horror movie. It had like the slow simmering boiling point of like The Witch. It had the score of The Shining. And actually for the first half of the movie, there were pretty much no jump scares. Now, as far as the cons in this movie, you guessed it, the second half of the movie, all jump scares. In fact, it had a large array of cliches from every single horror movie, from I think we should split up, to jump scares, to incoherent plot devices, things being set up that were never paid off. And it was written and directed by the same guy who did The Strangers, Bryan Bertino. And he has commented multiple times before saying that he doesn't like movies that are a clean cut, that explain too much, and have a precise ending. He kind of likes a little ambiguity, which does work in a horror movie, but I think that in this scenario, there was too much setting up and then dropping and then switching a little bit. To be honest, when I walked out of the movie, I felt like it was finished by a different director and writer. They were on a certain path, they were trying to deliver a message, and then they completely undid it by flipping it on its side. And you can argue that this was done because it's scarier that way, but I would say it's done so extreme that it actually takes away from the movie. So to wrap it up, incredibly scary, great acting, great cinematography, great score, just generally overall a great horror movie. Where it does lose a few points, though, is that it doesn't really make sense. It does do some things that go, okay, you're just trying to be over the top, you're trying to be grotesque, you're trying to shock us, but in doing so, you're taking away from what you built up. You had some good faith, you had some good storytelling, you had some narrative with some mystery building, and you just went and you out the door. So, all things considered, I would say this is a fantastic movie, a fantastic horror movie, but it loses a few points for just being a little bit incoherent in the end. So I'm going to give The Dark and the Wicked an A-. It's great. It is fantastic. I am still unable to sleep watching this 2 days later. But at the same time, there's little things that I just wish they could have tweaked. It's not quite the masterpiece, but it does feel and look like Hereditary, The Shining, The Exorcist. It's just scary. It builds the suspense. So be sure to comment down below. What did you think of The Dark and the Wicked? What did you think about the ending? Do you think it should have been different? Comment down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I want to give a special thanks to Shudder as well as RLJE who provide the link for this video so we can do an early screening. I've been John, you've been Burned, and we will see you next time.